for me, the biggest issue in my life was just this desperation to not think about anything and not have to worry about anything and not have to really be responsible for anything. And my plea for people would be increase your responsibility. Don't look for something that decreases your responsibility. Look for ways to increase your responsibility, to be more in charge of the situation. My guest today is the one and only Paige Dorian Productions. Hi, Paige.
Hi, Ethan. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. What are we talking about today?
Well, we are talking about how to start this year right. How do we get
New year, new you?
New year, new you, new me?
Yes. Okay. Well, like let's rain diarrhea down on everybody's parade first a little bit and just go. It's just another day, and it's no different. Like, you know, the 31st is not. What's the difference between the first? But I can get into kind of the idea of like, you know, I think the mind is a very powerful thing, and placebo is real, and like if we have some idea that there is a significance around something, that just that thought and that idea can create an actual significance around it and make it important and all of that stuff. And so like if your day is January 1st, if January 1st is the first day of the rest of your life, right? Which you and I and Brandy are always saying, tomorrow is the first day of the rest of my life. How many times have we said that?
Mm-hmm.
If January 1st is your tomorrow and that is the first day of the rest of your life, let's fucking do it big, you know? Let's fucking go, man. My advice would be, and like if I go back to the times where I was like January 1st is it, whether it was like I'm going to get sober, I'm going to lose all the weight starting January 1st. I think the first mistake that I started to make, which wound up with like, you know, a January 13th, like, fuck this, I'm not doing it anymore, was kind of making it so hard, such a hard thing to stick to. You know, I again am a firm believer in what we're doing is a forever path. It's a journey that is forever. There is no finish line. And I'm not dissing goals. I think goals are great. You know, if you have a specific target you're aiming for, wonderful. If you want to run a marathon, if you want to, you know, be able to do a pull-up, if you want to be able to do 100 push-ups in a row, whatever your goal is, I think those goals are great. My fear, anecdotally from my experience of having, you know, hit a lot of these goals, is 5 minutes after having hit the goal, I'm left with no more goal and the whole game is over, and then I'm just regressing. And so the double-sided thing there is like, let's get on to the lifetime path. Let's get on to the path that is the forever path. This is the path that is like not just 3 months and I can go back to my old paradigm of how I was living, because whatever we are looking to escape will come back, you know, if we don't make these kind of changes. And I think when doing that, if we set ourselves up with something that's too severe or too hard, then failure is almost inevitable, because how can you stick to it if it's too hard? You know, if you're like, I want to run a marathon, and you just go out on day one and run until you collapse. I could not run a marathon today, but if I went like, I'm just going to run every day as much as I can to the point of like collapse, I don't think I run the next day. I don't think I can, you know? So
yes.
The system that I look for now, like Yeah, I don't really have a specific goal for 2025 beyond like, I want to keep this going. How can I add to this? How can I make this what I'm doing better? How can I be a better father and husband? And how can I improve myself? And really, honestly, now it's more about like, what books can I read? And, what work on myself can I do that's more like mental than physical, even so much. I don't really want to run a marathon. I do want to get better at rowing. I probably said that last year too. I did a lot more rowing in 2024 than I did in 2023. And to be really honest with you, I don't feel like I've gotten much better. Like, you just got to keep doing it a lot. And I might have gotten a little bit better, but like, in 2012, man, I was such an animal on the rowing machine that I'm kind of comparing everything to that and going like, I have to get back to that good. And I don't know if I'm young enough to ever get back to that good, however good I
Right.
was in 2012, but I can improve from where I am.
So let me ask you this, because there are different categories of people, right? And different categories of it's the first, and that means X, Y, or Z. Because for some, it can mean, okay, I'm going to tighten my discipline. I went a little nuts over the holidays. It's January 1st. I'm back on track. And for some, it can be, that place that I think you and I have both been in so many times and in our lives of like, I need a real change. I need a real, like a desperation almost, right? Or someone got inspired to, improve some particular part of I'm going to run a marathon this year and I've, been doing 10K or whatever. So there's different categories of people. And I always think with January 1st, it's the category, like I said, that I've done so many times, like, wow, I need a real change. And how do I do that? So, if you could speak to that, like what are those first steps? Because it's so daunting. There's 9 million diets. Everyone's going to advertise right now, do my thing, and my thing's going to get you there. And how do you begin the
Yeah.
lifetime journey?
I think that there's two things. I think it can't be so little that it's nothing, because if we're doing nothing for a long time, then there's kind of no motivation to continue, right? Because there's not going to be a huge result from nothing. If it's so little, like if it's like, I'm going to eat one piece of toast less at breakfast, right? Is that going to change your life? Probably not. That's probably not going to, or I'm not going to butter my toast at breakfast or whatever it is. If it's that slight, I do believe that you can pick something, get good at it, and build on that. But at the same time, I think that thing you're picking needs to have some effort. It just can't have so much. It can't require so much effort that other aspects of your life start to suffer or that it's unsustainable. Like if you're going to go out and exercise on January 1st, whatever you're going to do, I think you got to be able to exercise also on January 2nd. Like you can't fatigue your body. You don't have to exercise the same muscle groups. Like if you go and do a heavy chest day or heavy leg day on January 1st, then you don't have to be able to do that also on January 2nd. But I think within the week, you got to be able to be recovered enough to exercise those muscles again. And certainly you got to be okay. Now, you don't even have to do weightlifting every day, right? But let's say you're going to go walk every day. You go every day now, starting now, I'm going to start a walking habit, right? At some point today, I'm going to intentionally walk just for the sake of walking, just because it's, I believe it's a health benefit to move my body through space and time using physical effort that I have to muster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you walk so much that your feet fall off or you got blisters or they're bleeding and you're in no state to walk on January 2nd, well, then it's too much. But if it's so little, if it's just like, well, I'll walk to the bathroom one extra time. Now, look, when I was 550 pounds, walking to the bathroom was a chore. Just standing up was a chore. So this is all relative. It's all like, you got to figure out what is enough effort that it's going to be not super easy, but not so difficult that you can't repeat it, that it's not replicable. And it becomes very difficult for like, I get really dissuaded by the one size fits all things, because like we take all our experience, our lifetime of accumulated experience, which is not going to be one for one with anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You do not view anything that I view. We could be standing right next to each other and we're going to see something happen, and we're going to see it slightly differently simply by where you're standing in space. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to see it from a slightly different angle. Well, you got to go through your entire life and every experience you have and go like, all of this leads me to today, and something that worked exactly for John or Mary or Beth or somebody else isn't necessarily going to work exactly for me. I don't know. You know, I think like I've heard people have had success with Weight Watchers when they were doing the points program, but you'd like have to go somewhere and check in, and there was a group aspect. But even then, it's like you're not making the exact decisions that another person's making. You just have an allotment of points that are also based on your size and your physical output throughout the day. I think that these things have to be tailored to us. And you could for sure sit down with a really good nutritionist or a really good physical coach and go in depth with your history and your likes and your dislikes and your preferences, and be really honest with what you believe you'll be willing to do as far as eating, and what you'll be willing to reduce, and physical activity that you'd be willing to do. But it takes really, I think, like an honest inventory of yourself and going like, how is this going to work for me? Is it going to work for me just because somebody said it worked for them, and I'm not taking into account that I'm very different from them in my preferences and my abilities? I just think that I just don't think we're all exactly the same. And so like, if January 1st you're doing keto because it was sold to you on Instagram that it's the greatest diet and the insulin model of obesity is something that you believe, I say good luck, you know, but like, I don't know of a lot of people who have undergone massive weight loss from doing keto and just lived happily ever after and didn't have at some point weight regain. Like almost
Mm-hmm.
everyone I know who has done keto and lost weight gained the weight back. And then the people, the like fitness influencers who are shilling for keto weren't really overweight, you know? And so like, okay, maybe that fucking dude just didn't like eating carbs. And so, like, you know, he stopped eating carbs and he lost 5 pounds and went from pretty lean to even pretty leaner, and like looks great and is now telling you why you got to do keto. But like, how many people lost 300 pounds and 6 years later, they're just like, yeah, I just do keto and I never think about anything else. And even still, I'm sure that person exists. I'm sure there's not like a void of that person, but like they're anomalies. It is not the
Mm-hmm.
majority of people. You've done keto. I've done keto. Brandy has done keto. Just about every person I know who has been on a diet in the last 20 years has done keto, and none of them credit it with changing their lives. None of them are still doing it. None of them lost all the weight they wanted to lose. Do you know what I mean? But that could be any diet. I don't know of a single diet where the person's like, yeah, I just did X. I just did this diet. So I think it requires some, you know, and if you're just like, shut the fuck up, Ethan, it's January 1st and I need to do a diet and I'm picking diet, you know, whatever from the TikTok craze because that's what the kids are doing and that diet sounds cool. You know, there was a diet that Clementine was telling me about where it's like the lady eats cottage cheese and carrots and mustard. And and she has a great ass apparently, right? And maybe she eats raw milk too. And I'm like, okay. I don't understand how that's a diet, but like, yeah, you could probably lose weight if you just eat cottage cheese and carrots and mustard and raw milk. But like, how long can you do that? Or is that what you're doing forever? Just eating fucking carrots and cottage cheese? I can't do that forever. So what's the plan for when you've lost your weight and then the rest of your life? Are you just like, I can also relate kind of to the idea of being resigned to the yo-yo, because so many years of my life was the up and down. So I'd go like, well, I'm going to kick my ass from January to March, and it's going to suck and it's going to be hard, but I'm going to lose a lot of weight. And then I'm going to try to gain it back as slowly as possible. But I know it's coming back. And like, okay, or you could do a little extra work now and be really honest with yourself and figure out some scheme that can get you to where you want to be and looks like a forever plan. Like what? Like the forever plan is not being talked about. It's just like 30-day plans and 60-day plans and, you know, or keto, I guess, is thought to be a forever plan, but there's so many problems with like, if you lose a little weight and you're not then reducing your intake, you're going to stop losing weight, and it's very easy to overeat fats. And like, so if you got 300 pounds to lose and you lose 100 on keto, there's no guarantee you're going to keep losing weight. And then are you happy being like a third of your way to your goal forever?
So, okay. People that are familiar with this podcast and have listened to you a lot, I think will understand what you're talking about, which is it's everything you just explained. It's not just what you're going to do for the next 30 days or 60 days until you reach this one goal of losing X amount, or it's what's going to keep you from yo-yoing, what's going to keep you, what's your forever plan, right? And I get that. So let's say I am a person who's ready, who hears that, realizes, oh, I totally get that. I've been doing all these ups and downs for so long. That's not sustainable. What is sustainable? How do I go about figuring out what are my first steps to figure out my forever plan? Because it can be daunting.
Yeah, sure. Are there things you're eating which you're more inclined to overeat? That's where I would start. So I'm not inclined to overeat chicken breast. And for a long time I was scared of rice. But then when I started to mess around with rice, it turns out that rice without a fat for me, or a sweetener, you know, I suppose like I could do a really sweet teriyaki sauce on rice and just overeat it. But like that also has fat in it. Those kind of viscous teriyaki sauces, or like a toasted sesame oil. Ooh, now I'm getting hungry. But like when I reintroduced white rice into my diet, I just wasn't super inclined to overeat plain white rice. It was just like, I'm getting this fuel into my body, and I could probably overeat that easier than chicken breast. So I had to actually be a little bit diligent. But Doritos, I will overeat Doritos. So is there something you're consuming that you're way inclined to overconsume, and can you get rid of that or take a big break from it? And when you do eat it, be super thoughtful about like, okay, I have a history of overeating this. Okay, for instance, I think I had one slice of pizza this year, and it was very recently. I wrote something for Substack, and in it, I said that there was a picture of me in this pizza shop in New York. So I was like, I'm going to go take a walk to that pizza shop. I'm going to have my yearly slice of pizza from what I think of as the best pizza in the world. And I'm going to take a picture of me on the wall and put it in my Substack. Well, I walked there and I forgot that they don't take credit cards. It's cash only. And I had no cash on me. So I walked away with my picture on the wall and not having had my slice of pizza and a little dejected. And then Juliet and her boyfriend and Brandy and I all went out to a play one night. And I had still been thinking about this fucking slice of pizza that I walked a mile to eat and then walked home and didn't have, and was like, I kind of feel like ripped off a little bit, like disappointed in myself. Like I still have a slice of pizza waiting for me in the list of things I'm allowed to have. And so after the play, it was like the middle of the night, like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, which is way past my bedtime. And I start planting the seed in this guy, Juliet's boyfriend, never been to New York before. And I'm like, listen, Brian, I know where the best pizza is, and it's open 24 hours, by the way. And we could go down to Joe's Pizza right now and have what a New York experience that would be, right? Like it's in the West Village, and we're gonna have a slice in the middle of the night, and it's like, you know, a Friday night or something, and all the crazy kids and the college people, and like it is what a New York experience. Don't you want to have that? And he's like, yeah. And then I realized I still don't have cash on me. Do you have cash, Brian? He says, yeah. And I'm like, great, pizza's on you. Let's go. And we go. But walking in, I have to like have this conversation with myself. I'm getting a slice of pizza. That's it. I could very easily eat a whole pizza, but I'm not doing it in a sneaky way. I'm not gonna, run ahead and eat the pizza or send Juliet, my wife, and Juliet's boyfriend off back home, and I'll stay here and hold down the fort and just eat them out of pizza. I also didn't have any cash to do that with. But you know what I mean? Like I had to go through all of this before interacting with the thing that I could very easily binge eat. I would have there's going to be stuff that I'm willing to eat that is a staple of my diet that I'm not going to have the kind of interaction with that I would have at McDonald's. You let me loose at McDonald's and it's like multiple Big Macs, and then I'm putting fries on the Big Macs, and then I'm squeezing sweet and sour sauce onto the fries on the Big Macs. And, I don't even know what the ratios are now. I feel like when I was a kid, we would get a 6-piece chicken McNugget, but now I think they do like a 20-piece, which was a family-sized bucket of McNuggets when I was a kid. But that's easily just a side dish for me now, right? And a couple fillets. And God forbid it's McRib season, and then we got to deal with that too. You know what I mean? And so like, I don't mess with that. It's going to be very, very rare. And if I find myself on my, on my third day of travel, stuck in an airport, it's the holidays, it's freezing, I can't leave, I'm starving, and the only thing that's open is McDonald's, and I'm like, I'm going to eat McDonald's. I got to talk to myself about it and be very reasonable. I can't do it on autopilot, because autopilot is mindlessly eating the whole bag of Doritos, going to Joe's Pizza and eating a whole pizza, going to McDonald's and just going nuts. I got to think about those things. So I have to figure out where are the areas that I go off the tracks, and I can spot those. Maybe for somebody it's ice cream. Maybe ice cream is something where, like, if you get a pint of ice cream, you eat a pint of ice cream. You're not taking a scoop and putting it in a bowl and having a serving of ice cream. Fuck that. The top comes off, the thing's getting eaten. Well, maybe you need to take a break from those things for a while and get yourself situated on your path. And then when you do interact with them and consume those things, you got to be really honest with yourself. Like, can I today have just a slice of pizza? Or is it going to fuck me up for the next week? There was a time in my life where eating that slice of pizza, I would have thought about nothing but more pizza for the next month. And I haven't thought about it again until right now when we're talking about it. And so like, but like, I've been doing this now. This is like my 6th year at this weight, where I'm still organizing and reorganizing my life. And it's not time consuming anymore like it used to be. Like figuring out maintenance and figuring out my forever plan was a lot of effort. And it was effort I was willing to put in because I'd been doing a yo-yo diet for over a decade, for like almost 15 years, before I got to the point where I was like, these diets are bullshit. These short-term diets where I just think weight loss is the solution are bullshit. I need to have a forever plan. And then I put a lot of effort into it. And it wasn't something that was just completely solved in an hour one morning. And then I was done and I was like, okay, I got my forever plan. No, things will emerge. And when they emerge, you can't get down that you haven't been implementing them. They had been occluded from you. You hadn't been looking at them. So how can you make a change when you're not seeing it? Once you see it, then you make the change. I think be open to that and be willing and interested in a lifelong plan, or just fucking do 30 days of keto and be resigned to the yo-yo life. I might get a necklace that just says yo-yo life.
Yo-yo life, yo. Well, I mean, okay, let me ask you this. Is there something to, and maybe this has been discussed before, I feel like we've talked about this, but is there something to, I need a hard start. I need like a real strict, I need something to like put the reins on, right? To like get this
like
January
a
1st.
start.
Thank you. A jump start. And then what? So like, is somebody going, hey, because I've done this and it's actually worked. It's like, I'm going to do XYZ for 30 days. But then to your point, it's like, okay, what's next? And you've said that every time me and the girls have done crazy diets and things in these last, 5-6 years, it's like, that's awesome. What comes after it? And every time I didn't think about what comes after it. What comes after it is gaining the weight back and doing something else. So it's like, so what about that for somebody? I've got to just do this.
If I compress my entire experience into what came first, the Kickstart, the liquid diet I did was a great jumpstart. The thing I wish I had done was go, this is a step one. This is just step one. And step two is not, I don't have to think about anything anymore. Every diet I ever did, I was just thinking, this is all I need to do. And it turns out that step one is not that everything is a step one. And then there's no, like, I don't need to think about it anymore. It's fucking life. We're not on autopilot. We don't go on autopilot. You can go on autopilot for brushing your teeth because you do it every single day and it takes 5 minutes and then you're done. You don't have to think about it. Maybe some people, I think Brandy even brushes her teeth at night too, because they are like anal about, dental hygiene. And that's fine. So you have two instances, but like, if your life is designed in a way where it's producing these negative outcomes that you're like not happy with, then you're not going on autopilot for a long time. I am basically on autopilot with maintenance now and only have to put effort in if I want to lose weight. And I'm at a weight right now where I'm like not desperate to lose weight. And maintenance is autopilot. But there are still safeguards. There's still voices that creep into my head and go like, when you go to Joe's, why not have 2 slices? You're walking there, you're walking past all the other, there's so much pizza in New York, and you're walking past all the other pizza places. And every time you walk past, it's like, nope, I'm going to Joe's. And then you're like, but I could probably pull off 2 slices and that's okay. You know what I mean? And you got to go, no, 1 slice, that's the safeguard. But like, expect to put real effort into getting to that place and not happening overnight. And then realize that like that path is kind of a forever thing. And like, we have magic diet drugs now. We do. They exist. These magic diet drugs exist. But I would even say, like, you can have the experience where you just lose weight and some huge percentage of it is going to be lean tissue also. Or you can fine tune your experience with the magic diet drug to have like a more optimal outcome, which is like prioritizing protein and doing a little resistance training will mitigate lean tissue loss and maybe set you up better for the future. And so like, maybe it's a little bit more effort than just like, I'm taking this injection and not thinking about anything. For me, the biggest issue in my life was just this desperation to not think about anything and not have to worry about anything and not have to really be responsible for anything. And my plea for people would be increase your responsibility. Don't look for something that decreases your responsibility. Look for ways to increase your responsibility, to be more in charge of the situation. That kind of was like the biggest breakthrough for me, which was like, I was desperate to just not have to think about it and to not, make this one change. And then I'm free to like just exist. And I didn't really see my condition improve markedly until I went, that's not the right way to think about it. How can I be more? How can I do more? How can I work harder? But not so hard that I can't keep doing it, right? If it's the only thing you're thinking about, how long will that last? And so to bring it back to a Kickstart, sure, Kickstart's great. It's a step one. If you're going into it going, I'm going to do this for 30 days and this is going to lead to the next thing, and I'm going to start thinking about the next thing now so it's totally ready to go for when I'm done doing this first step. Fine, do something crazy and extreme. Do what's it called? 75 hard. 75 hard seems brutal. Do that. That's awesome. What a great way to start January. 75 days, great kickstart. What comes on the 76th day? 76 days, if it's just like pizza and donuts again and back to my old life of watching too much TV and eating while I watch TV and like Postmates and all that good 21st century technology, well, then what's the point? Was the point just doing 75 hard, or do you have your sights set on something bigger,
Well, and yeah, that all makes so much sense. And it's a good point. Like, you can do something to start and go, I got to get it together. I got to get my shit together. And I'm going to do 75 hard. I'm going to do keto. I'm going to do 30 days of something, for whatever plan you pick. And then I like that you just said, so part of the way through that, cool, start thinking about what comes next. And again, what comes next after that, right? And it's not just food. It's what about exercise?
Yes, I would even start thinking about it before I started. Like, you're in the middle of a diet. It's tough to make really great decisions. The decision for me, when I'm in the middle of a diet, the decision is like, do I make it through the day or not? Not what am I going to start eating tomorrow when this diet ends. I don't know. My faculties are not 100%. I would try to make those decisions when I have the most fuel in my system, but not overfueled, not in some manic delusion of like, sugar and fat euphoria. But like, I'm going to do a liquid diet for 30 days. Okay. I'm going to do that for 30 days. That's a step one. In this present state of whatever clarity I can achieve, what's going to be step two? And do I need anything to be ready for that? Because my life on a liquid diet is going to be really just getting through the liquid diet, That's what I would suggest.
Yeah. No, I get it. I'm just thinking about, it's the 30th, and it's like somebody might be listening to this for a bit of motivation or a bit of, reaffirming that they've decided to do something, right?
Do something. Yeah. By the way, I think doing something is always better than doing nothing. I cannot stress that I think that apathy was a real killer for me, and just being slothful and, not in action. I like action. So yes, yeah. I'm all for it. Take action. If you are recognizing that there's some problem in your life that you want to address it rather than not address it. Don't not address it because I said keto was bullshit. Don't just go like, well, I'm going to do nothing then. Ethan said keto was bullshit, so I might as well do nothing. No. And also, maybe keto's right for you. Maybe you're a guy who didn't really care about sweets and you can subsist on very little fat and protein throughout the day, and you're going to do just fine. And like, I'm not trying to talk anybody out of anything. I'm just saying, when I went into keto thinking all I have to do is not eat carbs and I don't have to think about anything else and my life will be solved, it was never solved. I never lost all the weight I wanted to. I never lived happily ever after and rode off into the sunset on my keto horse, like, you know, with my 6-gun in the air. By the way, there's something, thinking of that, saying that, there's a great line in a Bing Crosby song. It's a Christmas song, and I just can't stop thinking about it. And it goes, "A pair of hop-along boots and a pistol that shoots are the hopes of Barney and Ben." And God, I've never so identified as a Barney and Ben before in my life than listening to that song. And that line, I was like, that motherfucker is saying little boys want a pair of hop-along boots. I don't even know what that is really, but I want them. Clearly, I want a pair of hop-along boots and a pistol that shoots. Yeah, that's all I need. And thank you, Bing Crosby, for singing that line. Anyway, I never strode off into the sunset in my hop-along boots with my pistol that shoots on my keto kick, and like, that was it. And I don't know anybody who did either. It's not like the evidence is overwhelming. There's a bunch of theoretical evidence, and it's got a good marketing pitch, and it's like, just do this one thing. And my argument is, it's never just one thing. You know, I know a guy who had psoriasis and he stopped eating lectins and his psoriasis cleared up. So it was really just that thing for him. But I got to be honest with you. I'll see him every now and again with a big old psoriasis flare up, and I'll just go like, you've been eating, huh? You've been living life. Okay, good for you. You know, Brandy cannot eat onions. This is the most devastating experience I've had as a person who does the majority of the cooking in our house, because like, onions are so great. You know, you want to make a soup, onions are a great base. You want to cook some meat, onions are wonderful. Onions are just so great. I really love onions and I love cooking with them, you know, and she can't eat them. And even with that, there will be nights where she's like at a restaurant and knowingly eating onions. And I'm like, you're going to be up tonight with indigestion. And she's like, yeah, but this tastes good, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, we do that. We know that. So my plea for people who are being caught into any of these like fad diets is like, it's never just one thing, you know, unless you're trying to handle psoriasis. It could be one thing. There could be some toxic agent in your house and you got to figure out what it is, and then you get rid of it and your psoriasis clears up. But like, being overweight, it's not one thing. This has not been my experience. This has not been the experience of anybody I know. It's not just that I ate too many peanut M&Ms. And when I stopped eating peanut M&Ms, I was like miraculously a normal person. By the way, my forever aside of apologizing for labeling anybody as normal, I know we're all fucked up and I feel bad for calling you normal, but like, I'm a sober person and I do think of people as normies, and I am not one of them. I'm a fucking dirty addict. So like, apologies again. But like, I didn't become a normie when I stopped eating peanut M&Ms and my life was just miraculously solved. It's not one thing. I got to move more. I got to be mindful of my urge toward motionlessness and depression and apathy. And I have to outdo that with the push to get myself moving. And then once I'm moving, inertia allows me to move easier and like be aware of all the food stuff. And like, I want to overeat. I want to fill the void within me. I want to fill it up with food, Paige. I want to come to your house and eat all of your chopped liver. Like,
Yesterday, I made matzo ball soup
you
in
go
honor
fuck
of.
yourself. How about that? I want to eat all of that. I want to dip my bread in chicken schmaltz. And,
Mhm.
I want to go do holidays at everybody's house and eat all of the things. I want to eat the roast turkey and the roast beef and the roast lamb. And I want to go eat a halal meal and a kosher meal. And who the fuck knows what they eat for Kwanzaa, but I want that too. Like maybe it's
Mhm.
Egyptian food or something, or no, sorry, Ethiopian food. And that's delicious. You eat it with your hands. It's got a lot of meat. Like it's probably spiced really well. I want that. I want to eat it all. But I got to like put up pull the reins a little bit, I got to
Yeah.
think about stuff. I can't just be resigned to like not eating peanut M&Ms, which by the way, in our play, I got to say this too, just to a moment of total honesty. We're sitting in the play, fantastic play, by the way, called Oh Mary. Second time seeing it. First time I went to see it, I went with a couple of friends who said, "You want to see a play tonight?" I said, "Yes, of course." They said, "Great, it's a historical play about Lincoln." I get in a car with them, we drive uptown, we get out, we go in, and I'm so perplexed, right, at this historical play about Lincoln. I'm just utterly confused. And then 15 minutes in, I'm laughing and I'm having a great time. But I was so thrown because it's definitely not just a historical play about Lincoln. It's as though every rumor you ever heard about Lincoln and his wife were true, and it's just the most satirized slapstick comedy from that point of view. And
Mhm.
it's fucking hilarious. So me and Brandy and Juliet's boyfriend, went to see it. We're sitting in the play, and I noticed Brandy snacking on something in the middle of our play. So of course I stick my hand over and I get back 4 peanut M&Ms. And I fucking ate them. I ate those peanut M&Ms, and I ate them knowing she wouldn't give me a 5th peanut M&M. And so I was
Mhm.
safe to have those 4 peanut. I wasn't holding a baggie of peanut M&Ms like some coke fiend. I
Mhm.
got 4, and that was all my dealer would give me. You know, but I'm saying, so like that's where we're at. This is a lifetime thing. There was a time when those 4 peanut M's would have derailed my life. They didn't
Yeah.
this time. But I've been
Yeah.
doing this now for many years, and like having a conversation when I felt the peanut M&Ms, I knew exactly what they were when they hit my palm. You can tell
Mhm.
there's a shape to
Mhm.
them, there's a weight to them. You can tell that there's a slightly denser center than the outer coating. It's like some version of a globe almost.
Mhm.
Um, and I was like, cool, I got 4 of these. I'm going to have these. I'm not going to feel guilty about this. This isn't going to ruin my life. I'm not going to have an extra slice at Joe's later after I convince Brian to take us there, and life will proceed and it's going to be okay. And tomorrow I'm not going to sneak off to the liquor store and buy myself a baggie of peanut M&Ms. This is my 4 peanut M&Ms for the year. Basically, I don't think I've
Yeah.
had peanut M&Ms in a long time, but like that could derail me. If that was going to derail me, I would have said, no, I can't eat this,
Mhm.
and handed them back to my wife,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, let me ask you this then, because we've talked a lot about food, and it's for me personally, that's what it comes down to. But in addition, how many people out there are looking at the first of the year and going, I got to join a gym. I got to start working out. Oh my God, I signed up at, 24-hour fitness. I'm nervous to go. Because I do think that the people who already go to the gym and love going to the gym are the ones that are going to go to that class at, Barry's boot camp on Monday. And they're going to be so excited and screaming about it's the new year. And yeah, I'm working it off and running away. It's not those people that I'm talking about. And I'm not talking about the people that are like, yeah, I'm going to take it up a level. I'm going to lift more. I'm talking about people who, like I have been so many times in my life, like, okay, it's the first, and I guess I'm going to join this gym. So to your point of it's not all or nothing, and it's not just a 30-day thing. What do we do with everything you just said? How does this relate to exercise?
Yeah, my plea is even for the people who don't feel like they're up to joining the gym, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't join the gym until I'd lost 150 pounds, and like that was a bullshit idea. The idea that I didn't belong there until I'd lost some weight. I had a guy come on my show once, come on this show. I think this was like years ago, and I believe you were there, who literally said, like, I postponed coming on because I wanted to lose some weight before I came on. And like, I know if you have some idea that you want to make a change, go join a fucking gym.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't go hurt yourself and not be able to go back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Have some kind of a plan. Google like how many days. First of all, it takes time to go to the gym. A lot people are busy. How much time can you spend there? How much
Mm-hmm.
time are you willing to? How many days a week can you figure out into your schedule going? I go about 6 days a week. Can you do that? I don't think everybody can do that. So how many days can you go? Great. When you go, what are you going to do? Have some kind of a plan. Then, I got to also be honest, when you start working out, you can get sore than you would get once you've been working out for a while. Like, it becomes harder and harder to actually make yourself sore. So like, you could go and do a workout and then like have trouble putting your shirt on the next day or the day after the next day, because your arms are so sore.
Yeah.
Be ready for that soreness. And I would just say, like, more movement helps get that soreness out. But don't go into the gym to hurt yourself. Don't go into the
Mm-hmm.
gym going, I have to leave it all here. I'm not into that. I'm into, what can I replicate? What can I do
Mm-hmm.
that I can also do tomorrow? Can I do a little cardio? Can I lift some weights? Okay, good. I've done that. I've moved my body. I've put in effort. It was hard. It's got to be hard. It can't be easy, right? You can also go too easy and not have a good result. Like, it should be hard. It should be
Mm-hmm.
difficult. It just shouldn't be so difficult that you can't keep doing it, because I
Mm-hmm.
don't think you'll keep doing it forever if it's too difficult. Go to the gym, find a sport, play racquetball, play pickleball, play basketball. Do curling. I don't know. Like, that even seems like at least they're out moving. I don't, maybe
Mm-hmm.
curling's inside in some places because it's so cold.
Wait, what's curling? And
Curling,
what's
you have like some kind of a rock and you slide it, and there's a dude with a broom or a gal with a broom. Like, it's on ice, and it's like
oh
it's
yeah.
like almost like bowling, but on ice, and they're sliding, and you got to be down in like a crouch for a long time. That takes a lot of quad muscles there. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, like, anything active is good. Going to the gym is good. Go join a gym, please. I
Mm-hmm.
love January 1st when the gym is packed. I love it. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to walk around and hug everybody and say, welcome. And that welcome is for me too. I'm welcoming myself. I'm making myself feel more comfortable here, because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
comfortable around a lot of people, but I love everybody at the gym on January 1st. It's like the most magical day. Like, yeah, we're all here to better ourselves. Go to the
Yeah.
gym, join the fucking gym. Don't overdo it and don't underdo it. Figure
Mm-hmm.
out what you can do. It takes a little bit of work. And by the way, if you overdo it on day one, good. Get your ass back in there as quickly as possible and don't overdo it on day two.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it might be some trial and error. Don't break anything. Look, I'm almost 50 years old, and I have kids who are in their 20s and even a teenager, and like, I go to the gym with them and their friends sometimes, and the constant question of PRs and how much can you lift and this and that, like, who fucking cares? That is not for me. That is
Mm-hmm.
really not a game I am playing anymore. My game is like, I'm doing something that's going to make me a better person, a better father, a better husband, healthier, live longer, live happier. Like, that's why I'm here. That's my purpose in being here. My purpose
Mm-hmm.
in being here isn't like putting an extra plate on my bench press. I could give a fuck about that. It's completely irrelevant. If you want to get stronger, you can work towards getting stronger. But like, what's your purpose in getting stronger? You envision yourself having to like throw a car off a kid one day, like in an accident. You know, you hear about those crazy moms with the crazy strength. The car rolls on their kid and they're like She-Hulk and lift it off of them. If that's what you're there to do, good, do that. But like, I think finding a deeper purpose is a good thing to have, you know.
Yeah.
And the superficial purposes, they're interesting targets, and you get to them, and then the next day it's like, well, I put a lot of work into this and I took a cool picture, and then that's that. I don't need to kill myself to stay at this, but like, what is the level of effort to put into longer and better life, you know, better business partner, better friend, better human being, better citizen of the town you live in, better spouse, better parent, better brother, better sister. Like, how do you improve on that? How do you improve the relationships? By being better yourself. And is fitness a part of that? Can it be a part of that? You know, is
Mhm.
uh, losing some weight a part of that? And can it be a part of that? I think those purposes are really important. They've been really important for me because that's a purpose I'm always going to have, you know?
Mhm.
That's like, that purpose is not going away. I'm not going to lose the idea that I want to be a good father, or the best version of a father that I can be, or a good friend. I'm not going to lose that because that's real, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I mean, that's the way to summarize this. New year, new you, new me, new us, like the purpose. Thank you for that. That's a really actually beautiful, like higher level guiding light, to have beyond just the reps and the rice,
Yeah. I mean, listen, yeah. And if, by the way, sometimes being Grace today, and I've been like, listen, the holidays are tough. The holidays are not easy. As I told you, I ate some peanut M&Ms and had a slice of Joe's Pizza. I might have had a hot dog at a movie theater. Who knows? That might have happened. And then today I'm back on my plan, and I've had my breakfast, and then
Mhm.
Grace made these beautiful sandwiches for the people of the household, and it was very important to her that I tasted the sandwich. And I'm like going like, nah, I'm on my plan. I'm on my plan, and fuck your sandwich, Grace. And I don't really give a shit. I don't need to taste your sandwich. But it meant something to her. So in that moment, being a good dad was trying her sandwich. I didn't have a whole sandwich. It didn't derail any of the rest of my day. There's a lot of fabulous burgers in New York. I haven't had one since I've been here on this trip. And like, there've been ample opportunities to go like 4 M&Ms and a slice of Joe's Pizza. Well, it's time to go on a burger tasting spree. There's a new place in Red Hook called the Red Hook Tavern. Their burger looks just like JG Mellon. They even serve cottage fries. Looks like a total ripoff to me, but you got to try it. I'm not doing that. I'm back on my plan, but I will taste Grace's sandwich that she put a lot of effort into, because that makes her feel seen by her dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on a FaceTime this morning with your wife, I saw that sandwich. So it looked
Looked, it was a
beautiful.
fucking good sandwich. Had a runny
Yeah.
yolk and everything. It was a damn good
Mhm.
sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's really so inspiring, everything you shared. And here we are, we're ready. We're ready. And for anybody out there who wants to share how their new year is going, write in a question, tell Ethan any feedback. Like, this is a time, I think, of community, right? Of like leaning on each other and listening to things and watching things. And like you said, interacting with people at the gym, because this time of year can be tricky. It can be hard and you can give up. I have given up a lot of years as soon as I started, because it's too much. It's too overwhelming. So let us know how you're doing. Let us know any feedback. Let us know if you have questions like, hey, I tried this, Ethan, but I have this going on, like we can do follow-up episodes and kind of address all that. And in the meantime, like 2025.
Happy New Year's, guys.
2025. Yeah. Happy New Year. Is it New Year or New Year's?
Who fucking knows? Happy New Year. Happy New Year's. When you're from East LA and the streets like me, it's Happy New Year's.
Okay. Well, I'm going Happy New Year, but Happy New Year to you. And thank you, Ethan, for all of this amazing advice and inspiration.
Thank you, Paige. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.